Chinese, the Russians don't fear Joe Biden.
On News Radio 1440.
Okay, the time is here that you've been waiting for. It's scheduled for 15 rounds, but
it won't go one. This is gonna be like a Mike Tyson fight. Listen, get there early and be prepared to leave early.
Yeah, but don't get too assured of yourself there, Mr. Mayor. Anyway, we got the mayor of the city of Montgomery, Mr. Stephen Lewis Reed. How's your family?
Hey, man, everybody's doing pretty good. I won't complain. Okay. Won't complain.
Didn't one of them have a birthday recently or something?
Yeah, my son had a birthday, so he's learning more responsibility. The older you get, the fewer gifts and the more things you're expected to do.
Yeah, no birthday. You know, if you were in a room with 100 kids in it, we could pick out yours.
Why you say that?
we can pick out your kids, because your kids look just like you.
Oh, well, look, I'll take that.
Yeah, we can pick out your children.
I'll take that.
Okay.
As long as they don't act like me, I keep telling him he's not the mayor.
That's right.
So I had to tell him that now.
Yeah. Montgomery's only got 2 mayors.
Well, what 2?
But I've been here longer than you, so I'm just saying. Yeah. Listen, let's get busy. The other day, you know, me and this panhandling thing, you guys finally have at least decided to try to do something. I think we ought to put them in a car and take them to Prattville. Okay?
That's what people say Prattville's doing to us.
Okay, yeah, they are. Let me ask you, one of the things came up with...
It's not just Prattville, what I hear. But, listen, you know, let me say this. I get an opportunity to talk with a lot of mayors around the country. Big, you know, mid-sized, small cities, suburbia, all the way through. This is a challenge throughout the country. It doesn't matter if you're in the Mountain West, the Pacific Northwest, the Northeast, the South, Midwest. It's a issue everywhere for different reasons. Some, it really is a lack of affordable and available housing. For others, it is a lack of, you know, healthcare services for veterans and people who are struggling. For others, you know, it's just a challenge of day-to-day life and some of the things that they're going through. And, you know, everybody's trying to figure out what's that solution. That's why, whether it's the U.S. Conference of Mayors or the African American Mayors Association or the National League of Cities, they're all task force on homelessness that try to address this. And those rooms, whether they be virtual or whether they be in person, those rooms are probably the most packed sessions that you have, probably outside of public safety. Mm-hmm. Public safety is always, you know, just overflow. But right behind that, even before economic development and things along those lines, you will see, mayors just sitting next to each other, just squeezing in like we used to do at church, trying to find solutions and trying to find, you know, what are the best practices to do it legally. And unfortunately, regardless of what state you're in, you know, you deal with some restrictions. Some states, you know, have tent cities set up, and these are very wealthy cities and very progressive cities in terms of their growth. It's just not something you can snap your finger and make go away.
There's that word that gets me all the time.
What's that?
And that word progressive. It seems to me there's some philosophical issues of leadership around this nation right now. In most of those cities that are under this scourge of homelessness and things, and high crime, and I just got to tell you, most of them are ran by a Democratic Party.
That's not true.
Well, name me a
city. David Holt is dealing with that right now in Oklahoma City.
I said most of the cities. Not all.
I could give you some other ones that aren't as well. Miami is the same way. Francis Suarez, bigger Republican as you're going to get. They have those same challenges as well. So it's not a matter of red or blue. It's a matter of what the law says you can do in your state.
But laws are made by people.
Yeah, but and you and I both know most legislatures are Republican, and you and I both know that most cities in the South don't have home rule.
It's kind of hard though, after 139 years of one party, to change it overnight. But that's a whole different.
I'm just talking about the last 2 years I've been in office.
Okay. So. I noticed the other day in the paper yesterday said the shootings have been the death from shootings have been somewhat down since then, and it's always good. So I can't even get on you about that because you don't have anything to do with. You're the leader, but you have. when it's high, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
When it's low, we hope that that's because you guys are doing something. But there seems to be the one thing about I certainly got a bone to pick with you on this. Not wanting, everybody that's panhandling is not homeless. It's a hustle.
For some.
Okay, it's a hustle. And again, the state law that says you can't do this, you seem to want to ignore it. And it's plain and simple in the state law that you cannot walk around the streets and beg for stuff. I mean, that's there.
Well, listen, what we're doing, and the city council has been very active in this, is we're trying to see, based on the city's lawsuit that we settled when I got in. I mean,
why did you settle it? Why not take them to court? You got a bunch of lawyers down. Take them to court.
You have to choose which battles to fight, Kevin, and which ones just kind of to let lie. And that was one that, quite frankly, I didn't think we were going to win. If I think we were going to win, and I'm fine with doing that. But the second thing is, times have changed, and the organizations that brought the lawsuit wanted to see some challenges. Wanted to see some changes. And so we were challenged on what we were doing. With that said, what we have had to try to do is adapt to where the law is and where cities are. So irrespective of, what the state law says about panhandling, we don't want our detectives and we don't want our rank and file police officers focusing their time on someone who's on a corner, whether it be Mulberry and Jackson and somebody that I see all the time, or whether it be Eastern Boulevard, somebody I see all the time, or whether it be anywhere else outside of East Chase. We don't want them. We want them fighting crime. We want them fighting property crime. We want them fighting domestic violence, investigating those cases, and we want them monitoring traffic and obviously trying to bring down the shootings. So now here's what I have proposed, and I think you'll see it in this budget. The city council approves it. We do want to have an intervention team. We do want to have a separate team that goes out and that does try to connect those that are panhandling with services and with other organizations that may be able to help, and those that want the help. Now, others that do not want the help, all right, we're going to start with the help. Others that do not want the help, what we will then do is we will make them aware of the laws that exist. No loitering, no trespassing, and these are things that you cannot do. Now, what we've got right now are some issues about whether or not you can do things on the right-of-way, all right? And can we remove them from the right-of-way? And so we've got to make sure, we flush that out so that person that's right off of, I-85 and one of these interstate changes, can we move them if that's not technically a local street? So those are the things that we're into as we try to deal with this.
Our numbers are 860-1440. If you want to give us a call, Mayor Reed is here with us this morning, taking your calls as many as I can get in. One more question for you, Mr. Mayor, and we're going to let the callers talk to you. I was on Facebook the other night.
Wait a minute.
What?
You're on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm always there.
You go live?
I go live every morning. But listen, I was on Facebook the other night, and you were taking the task about something that, and I spend more time defending you than I do agreeing with people about it, because I think overwhelmingly you do a pretty decent job. So I don't have. Well, you ain't perfect.
Well, no, there's a big gap between decent and perfect. That's kind of an A and a C. Now, you were a C student at best. There's a little bit between that high A and a C.
That's true, but at the end of the day, what do they call a doctor with a C average and a doctor with an A average?
Unemployed.
They call him a doctor.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they still call him a doctor.
Listen, I'm not gonna call him at all.
Okay. The Black Lives Matter thing, which is right downtown here.
Yeah.
There are some people who find that a little political on the public right of way and on the public property. Why did you allow that to happen?
Oh, I thought it was a great idea, and it wasn't my idea. My idea was to do something in protest of the murder of George Floyd. And I did not want to do what I had seen other cities do, which was paint streets. So I didn't want to do that. But I wanted to make a visible statement that we stood with the group and we stood with the organization. And more important, we stood with the premise and the purpose of why it exists. And the idea came from the arts community about that spot. And I thought it was just a magnificent idea because I couldn't quite figure out, I knew that there was a frustration and an anger inside me, no different than there were a lot of black, white, brown, and other people as well, at what took place. So when that came to me, I thought it was a great idea given the history. And listen, I thought it was great to give those who perpetuated what took place on that spot, the selling of slaves, the middle finger. So I thought there was some good irony in what was presented at that time. So what better place than to, do that?
Okay. Let's take a call. I'm with you. Good morning on air.
A couple of questions. First one, if you thought that BLM thing was such a great idea, why did your chief of staff lie and say it was water-soluble paint put down?
Well, I don't know if he lied or said anything. I can just tell you what I said.
It's not water-soluble.
Well, just because you said it doesn't make it a lie. So keep going. What's your question?
It's still a couple of years.
Do you have a question?
Yeah. We had okay, you don't have to be smart. But we had
you started off, they started that off. I respond how you act.
We had a program where special needs kids
were interacted
with horses, and you said structured it. How long did it take to restructure that program?
As we said in the council meeting, there have been some allegations of financial improprieties, and anytime we have serious allegations of, mismanagement of public funds, we take that step by step, and we let our investigations team guide us on that. Sometimes it can be weeks, sometimes it can be a little longer. So until we get that...
Did they investigate you for trying to get override a program where you have to have a bid process?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. You mean the minority business program? Well, wait, wait, I love it when people like you call. See, I like to engage like this. People like you who want to say I tried to override something. Now, that's a bold-faced lie. Don't make up stuff, so you don't expect me to respond, but I will respond where you are. If you have an issue with the minority business program, just say you have an issue with black businesses getting city contracts. Just say that. Just say that.
Not to go through a bid process.
What's that?
Simple question.
Did what?
Did you ask tell a man not to use the bid process?
No, that's stupid. That's idiotic and it's illegal. No.
Okay, so you did the...
So you got two questions.
Can I get my one last question?
Quickly.
What in Montgomery is improved since you've been in office? What is your what is the accomplishment you're the proudest of?
Man, I thank you so much. Listen, I could talk for the rest of the hour, but I won't. What have we improved in? One, we did the first zoning plan in the last 60 years. We completed a strategic plan in the last 57 years. One, we've got the highest reserves in the last 30 years. We got $40 million in savings, of which we haven't seen since the 80s. So we have a fire department that's one of, I think, the only fire and rescue department that is accredited in this state. We've got crime that's down 20%, murders that's down now 27% year over year. I think that's pretty good, but I can keep on going. We got $1 billion that's been brought to this community in the last 12 months, and $4 billion is in the works. So you want me to keep going? Well, let me go with education. Then we passed this investment in public education for the first time in almost 40 years. I'd say we got some pretty good things going on, and we gave our police officers the first double-digit raise that they've had in well over 15 years, and sanitation workers a 19% raise as well. And we are giving merit raises, and we have given merit raises and cost of benefit adjustments for retirees. Now, I can keep on going with Parks and Recreation, lowering the bond debt, lowering what we owe to the market. I can keep on going, but I'll stop since Kevin has some other callers.
Yeah, I do. Speaking of Parks and Recreation, Ben, I'm a member of that illustrious board, and I thank you for giving us a director. Now, of course, what do the boards mean to you? Because it seems like this one doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. We don't really have much influence. We don't really ever have a meeting. Why don't we get rid of the boards if they don't mean a whole hell of a lot?
That's a question for the city council. The city council appoints those board members, and the city council has the authority.
I mean, the boards, but do you agree with the board, with the board structure? Do you believe we need them?
Now, I don't believe in the structure. I mean, I said that. I think that, there are things like the airport authority and others which that mayor ought to have input in. So let me be clear about that. I think there are other boards the museum board and others that play a vital role in the community. Look, I think any organization is as relevant as it wants to be and as it needs to be. That's just like anything else that we do by committee. So I think if the Parks and Recreation Board wants more say-so, then they can make that known to those council members who are very interested in our Parks and Recreation facility. There are many of them. And I think that, bringing that to their attention and coming down to the work session, to ask kind of what's happening and what's going on, then those are things that they ought to bring to the table.
Okay. That's fair.
But let me say this. It's interesting. We start with the conspiracy caller. That's why I kind of like engaging in radio like this. People say, well, why do you need to do talk radio anymore when you got social media and things along those lines? I like to get it from the people because what you don't often get in an interview, press conference or things like that, you can't quite get the back and forth. So you can't call out the nonsense. You can't call out the BS. Mm-hmm. And you can't call people on what they stand on. For somebody to make an assertion that we want to override, that has never been the case whatsoever. What some people really have is an issue when you talk about equity. And when you talk about equity, particularly when it comes to money and economics, and you're talking about black entrepreneurs, women-led companies and organizations being brought to the table, some people get scared about that. These are people who've been at the trough for the city of Montgomery for decades, and they feel it's a birthright. And it's not. You have to compete like I got to compete. So when we're talking about programs that the city council has passed to increase things that will build our economy and grow our job base, why would somebody use a code word or some type of smoke screen as for us doing something or me doing something illegal when I was a judge for 7 years? I mean, I was never cited for anything. I mean, I think I know the law pretty good. My wife's an attorney, my brother's an attorney. I think I know that pretty good. So let's not get into what somebody said on Facebook. If you got an issue with something or you feel, threatened by a policy decision, then just say that. Don't hide under something else. That's why I like coming on your show, Kevin, because I get the conspiracy callers and I can call them out on their craziness. Next up.
Good morning.
I'm on the road, Doc.
Are you on the road? Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Mayor, don't pay that fool attention. He's a Proud Boy, and he's an ex-KKK member. If he had his way, he'll try to hang you from a tree.
Well, listen, better come correct.
Okay.
All right, you have a good day.
Appreciate it. Let's see, somebody told me to ask you about the meters down by the tag place. I don't know what that means.
Parking meters?
I guess. I don't.
I can tell you that we're trying to get more signage, and we want people to use the app and less coins because we know people don't carry loose change. And that was something that was covered within the last month with our head of general services. So, and we're aware of that also with tourists, they aren't quite used to, you go to another city, it can be Birmingham, you go to Auburn, you can just do things kind of via smartphone. Not everybody has one. My parents don't have one. But we are trying to make sure that there's more signs and more visibility so people understand where you can park and what the limit is and that sort of thing.
Although I will tell you, we're in a city that pays 10% sales tax collectively with the state and the county and everybody else.
Which is too high, by the way.
Right. But since we are paying it, why should we have to pay to park downtown anyway?
Well, the sales tax goes to fund other things because we got a cheap property tax.
But you get enough money on the sales tax to make up for that.
Sales taxes are up, and we're grateful. So are lodging tax revenue. But listen, you get what you pay for, Kevin. Mm-hmm. You can't want first class amenities on bus class service now.
Well, that's a good Democrat answer. But at the end of the day,
that's not no Democrat answer. Y'all believe in Reaganomics, and that's trickle down economics. So that's not.
Yeah. The problem is I'm getting all the trickle. I ain't getting to keep none of my money. But the problem is we just went after all of these taxes that we already pay, inflation going up. I mean, we shouldn't have to pay to come downtown to spend money. We just shouldn't have to do that.
How do you then?
First come, first serve.
Oh, come on now. Listen, this is not Mayberry anymore, Kevin. You come on now. You got to do better than that. Go to a city that you want Montgomery to be like, which I hear Huntsville now and every other place. If you go there and see what you're gonna pay when you go downtown. I can promise you.
I don't live there. I live here in Montgomery.
Exactly,
Alabama.
but don't you want it to grow and flourish, Mr. Parks and Recreation Board?
Yeah.
Don't you want us to improve
Sure
Lagoon Park and Gateway Park and all these facilities?
I don't think them tickets downtown, them meters downtown, are going to fund that.
Well, it funds other things, so it allows us to take that money and put it where it needs to be.
One more thing before I go to the phone.
Yes, sir.
traffic tickets, not a moratorium, but we need to give some of these young folks a break who screwed up 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Why don't we just clear the books on these people, some of these fines? Why don't we just clear
I think it's a great idea. It's something that we're looking into, and we're kicking the tires on that, dotting our I's and crossing our T's. So you and I are on the same page with that.
All right.
And not just traffic tickets, too. There's some other misdemeanor.
Good morning, caller. You on there?
Good morning, Mayor Reed.
Good morning, sir.
And I had to say Mayor Reed because if I had said good morning, Mayor, Kevin would have.
I would have said,
oh.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, look, Alvin Holmes said a long time ago, the city of Montgomery didn't have deputy mayors. You know, that's when Jeff Downs said they're deputy mayors, and the late, great Alvin Holmes said, we don't have no such thing as deputy mayor because nothing comes through the legislation, and he was the chair of the local delegation. So I don't know how Kevin thinks that he can be deputy mayor or any other mayor.
I'm near the airways, brother.
Well, when you said Mayberry, he thought that you were talking about him. So,
yeah.
But, Mayor, I want to just call in and publicly commend you on the great job you're doing. I know you had a previous caller that challenged that, and you mentioned a lot of the accomplishments, but it was tough for the audience to really distinguish because he was kind of talking over
I'm
you.
sorry.
I do think that, if people would really look at the record and not the rhetoric, they would see the vast improvement, as you indicated, in the last 40 years. One of the things I think that I'm proud of that you have brought into the administration an economic development position.
Yes,
somebody
sir.
that wake up every day looking out for the citizen in this community regarding economic development. Can you talk a little bit about that position, and I'll hang up and listen to your response?
Absolutely. Let me say thank you for the call and thanks for the congratulations. And again, I may have been a little too close to the microphone too, so that may have been me. But listen, I just had a good workout this morning, so I feel good right about now. The economic development position is something that the city had not had. And it's almost like you having this, we're about to be in football season. It's almost like you having a football team and you don't have an offensive coordinator, or since we are in baseball season, not having a third base coach. You got to make sure that you have someone who wakes up, goes through the day and dreams about economic development and growing jobs, bringing retail to underserved corridors, working with small businesses and entrepreneurs to help them grow so that as a city we can put together the things that we need to do. What we realized in the first year of the administration, right after we kind of did our transition report, was most cities, including Birmingham and others, had so many tools in their economic development toolbox that Montgomery did not have. And this is not something that is a shot at any administration. It's just the fact that we didn't have, as a community, those things that people don't see that really promote and help you grow, retain, and recruit great jobs and help your small business community, regardless of their size, regardless of how long they have been in existence, to grow by connecting them to the SBA, connecting them to the Department of Commerce programs, connecting them to corporate and philanthropic funding and even private sector funding that's available for partnerships. Those are things that we needed, but also giving us policy recommendations that we needed. I mentioned the zoning piece for a big reason, because when I ask developers, not only in this city, but around the state and around the Southeast, what's the number one issue that helps you determine whether or not you develop in a place or not? Many of them said, almost to a person, your zoning and how easy is it for me to do business with the city. If I have any issues with one of those, then I may be looking at a different market.
Okay,
so that's why we brought that person in, and we're looking forward to it.
We'll come back, take your calls and comments right after this. Our guest is the Mayor of the City of Montgomery, Honorable Stephen L. Reed. Don't know what the L stands for, but
Lewis.
Okay.
Come on, brother.
We'll be back right after this. Call to Steve or talk to him, but 272-4313. Don't forget, you can buy Stephen Lewis Reed. That's right. He's here, right here live, and he's feisty this morning. So y'all make sure
I feel good this morning.
Make sure you got that together. Good morning on air.
Kevin.
Yes.
Good morning. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Mel Reed, how you doing this morning?
I feel great, fantastic. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, good. Reverend Sankey here. I was just laying here listening.
Always
I'm so glad you're on this morning. Because, you know, I like for a man to come in and just take the heat in the kitchen. When you're not there, they beat you, say, submission by the head and shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all them naysayers, I want them to call you now, because I know you, because you're, as you say, you're a big boy. You can wear your pants. I wish they would call and make all those lying and make an accusation that I know not true. I don't get around much. I don't come down the way, but I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
So they say they can't
fantastic
get
is, that's fantastic is kind of like he's doing an okay job, but
that might not apply to you, Elkins. Let the Reverend keep.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let me speak, Kevin. I don't tell you what to say.
Okay, I shut up. I'm bad.
So let me talk to my mayor, okay?
Okay.
He's doing a fantastic job, and as we say, he come from a good family. He's supposed to do a great job.
Thank you, sir.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to pin flowers on him while he lives, and I'm not sucking up to him. He's just doing the fact that when he was saying a few minutes ago all the things, I didn't know that. Well, if you listen to these naysayers, they talk like he's not doing nothing down there. You know it, Kevin.
Well, and I know it.
You submission about the head bottom. You try to defend him, right?
Well, because I think a lot of the criticism he gets is wrongly placed.
All right, thanks. So I just
not all of it,
but
some of it. Yeah.
And you keep doing the good work. And one of these days, my son back in town, I get him to bring me down there, and I like to talk to your personal. They say they can't get in touch with you. I'm pretty sure if they have some significance to talk about, you don't mind talking to them.
Not at all.
You ain't got time for the foolishness.
That's right. Look, we got time for you.
Appreciate
so when you need to get down there, you just holler at us.
All right.
Okay, Doc,
yes, sir.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you.
Good morning, on the air with the mayor.
Hey, Kevin, good morning.
Morning.
It's Mayor Reed, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, doing well. Hey, Mayor Reed, I want to applaud you for doing a great job. I mean, you're innovative. You're doing your thing, and keep your head up. Stay strong. I foresee a great future for you. Youth is on your side, and I mean, you're doing great things. So just know that you have supporters out there.
Thank you.
And right, and then Kevin, the other day you was asking, why vote? Why voting is necessary and everything. It's not going to change anything. Well, I can tell you voting is necessary. Look at the guy next to you.
Well, I mean, local votes I'm all for, but I don't know about the national scene.
National.
Nobody ever calls me and asks me anything, so I don't know.
National too. The mayor got to have some funds to work with.
Yeah.
So you got to have a government in place that's willing to actually understand, the need of people that looks like him, and not only that, but the need of people that are, in the same economic status as really most America is. Most of America.
All right.
So voting is very necessary.
All right.
And all, but I just want to say, accolades to you. Thank you for coming to Kevin's show. It's great, great knowing that we can, pretty much reach out to you when we need to.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Mayor, let me ask you a question. I was talking to the police chief last night. I guess we're about 80 officers short, which is actually better than we've been in a while, because we were. One of the things that some of the police officers, when they have an opportunity to talk to, one of the things that some of them feel, our white police officers feel, as though they feel like the roles have been reversed and they have been sort of relegated to clean up and mop up, and they've been given a certain amount of disrespect. Again, the chief said, now that's not true, and I don't know. But if people feel that way, are you doing the best you can to make sure that everybody is included? I mean, I know you do the LGBT and all that stuff. You make sure they're included. But I want to make sure that the people, that we don't subject people to the attitudes that we as black folks had to put up with for years.
Yeah, I think that, from our standpoint, we want to have a culture that works for everybody. And we want to have a culture that really that motivates everyone for maximum performance, whether you're with street maintenance, whether you're with, parks and recreation, you're at the zoo, or you're with, building inspections, or you're one of the first responders. So I think you have to hear some of those complaints, regardless of where they're coming from, and then look into them and see what the issue is. What I try to tell any of them, the 2,600 or so city employees that I may see at a grocery store, I may see at a ball game, or I may see just somewhere out eating lunch or something like that, is, if you got an issue, let us know. And many of them say, well, hey, we can't do that because there may be retaliation, right? And what we try to do, and in particular, they talk to me, it is, let's work the process. I can't do anything on third hand, circumstantial information. He said, she said. Let's work the process and let's look into it, and we're going to be fair and objective about that. Now, knowing Chief Albert and the type of police department that he worked in for 30 years down in New Orleans, there's a little bit of everybody in New Orleans, from all over the place. So I know that he's going to run a good shop, and he's going to run a tight ship, because he comes from the background of the only thing that matters is, the culture and how that produces the end results that we want to get.
Yeah. We'll go back to phones. Good morning on air.
Hey, good morning. Mr. Mayor, going to be heading to Montgomery today. In fact, I am right now, going to the Coliseum. What are the renovations that are going to be done by the city for that facility?
Well, we got a $5 million grant from the state when we took over the Coliseum from the state of Alabama, and some of those renovations have already taken place and some are in process, and that involves improving the locker rooms for some of the tournaments that are held there. That involves improving fixing some of the roof. I don't know if it'll be an entire roof replacement. That's why I said some of the roof. And then there's some other lighting issues that have already been done to really improve the lighting in there, so that you can really do more TV and video work in there than you could before. Now, hopefully that will allow us to really attract some different type of events, even concerts there besides just the rodeo and the fair and some of the high school tournaments that we have. But that's where we are right now with the Coliseum. But let me say this: the Coliseum is a stopgap for us. The Coliseum is not the future for this city. The future for this city is going to have to look and feel a lot different than the Coliseum for events. We just can't be in a 70-year-old building and expect that we're going to get the type of events that Huntsville and even Tuscaloosa can get, much less if you get down to Birmingham and Mobile. So we'll be looking into what some future plans may be for an event space that can host anything from a rodeo to a tournament to a great concert. And that there'll be more discussion on that in the upcoming months.
Okay, well, are there any plans at this moment for the livestock facilities there? Because that's what I'm heading there for.
Yes, sir. That's one of the things where we really have had to make some tough decisions about how far in do you go to fix that. And we have different opinions. Some who think that it's too far gone, you won't get your return on investment if you try to put it there. And then there are others who are still pushing for us to try to make some improvements there. I don't think, to be candid with you, that's at the top of the list, but it certainly is on the list. We just have not figured out, in all honesty, how far to go with the livestock and improving the horse stalls and some of the other grounds, some of the other facilities on the grounds that people like yourself and many others really depend on for their animals.
Yeah, well, we have hundreds of people that will be in town this week, and that is a draw for Montgomery for certain. Yes,
sir, and we are well aware of that, and that's why we want to build for the future, and we want to look at what's going to keep people like yourself coming, but also what's going to bring in even other events, livestock, rodeos, and other events, horse shows as well. So, again, there'll be some more discussion about that you'll hear in the upcoming months. We just got to acknowledge that sometimes a facility gets so old, whether it's a public school or whether it's an office building, and sometimes even event space, that you just have to kind of say, we're going to hit the reset button and move on.
You got a couple more calls, and we're going to give you a last
Thank
word.
you.
Good morning on air.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, sir. Hold on. God
Yes, sir.
see y'all, hear y'all, and know all. Have a good day, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
All right, then. Good morning on air with the mayor. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to ask the mayor a question, please.
Yeah, he's listening to you right now.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I got a question about the Buddy Watson baseball field over here on Taylor Road. I would like for maybe you just to walk through and just see what can be done. This past 2 years, my son plays out there, and it just needs a lot of cleanup with all the mildew, with the grass and weeds growing through the benches, and grease trap. You have to walk through it. It's overflowing, and you have to actually walk through the grease puddles to get to the fields around the back of the building. It's just a lot of mildew on the bricks, and like I said, there's a couple of times where we were playing ball, and the balls were going to the backstop, landing in styrofoam cups and stuff, you know, and it's just, I've been around, I'm a traveling salesperson. I go to Auburn, I go to Wetumpka, I go to all these places, and I just see just a lot of difference between their ball fields and our ball field. And I just don't think it's getting the proper need, especially if I was coming out of town and wanted to come live here. It just wouldn't pull me to live here for my son to play ball here. And I just want to just kind of concern that and bring that out to you. If you can just go out there and just do a walkthrough.
I will do that, and I've done that at some of our other facilities. I have not walked Buddy Watson, so I will do that. And let me tell you, I was just saying to Kevin while we were off air, he's on the Parks and Recreation Board. There's a lot of emphasis on our sports facilities. We realize not only for the residents here, but for us to, again, attract people like yourself and keep the folks that are living here. They want things for their kids and their grandkids to do. They want them to be able to get outside and have a first-class event space or first-class facility regardless of the sport. And we also realize that with travel ball and other youth tournaments, that's a moneymaker. So we're putting millions of dollars actually into our facilities around this city, and I think that we'll be adding some more based on the last meeting we had with city and county elected officials in some of our parks and recreation, and I'll make sure I get out there because you're exactly right. We've got to keep up and maybe even reclaim our leadership stake when it comes to sports facilities around the state. So thank you so much for that comment, and I'll make sure to walk it.
Okay. Good morning. You're on there with the mayor.
Sergeant Elkins.
Yes.
Sergeant Elkins.
Yes.
Is that me?
That's you.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Mayor Reed.
Good morning, sir.
Mayor Reed, it's something that's been eating at me for a minute now, and that's the new city council line. Because I seriously got a problem with them not churching on Cloverdale in District 7. What's the current update on that? Is those lines fine or what? I'm going to hang up and y'all have a blessed day.
That question has been brought to me by several people in the community, and I don't have the legal answer on that just yet. I know the council did vote on it. There's some who think that the mayor, per Act 618, is obligated by law and statute to present a plan, of which I have not. And if that's the case, then there may be an opportunity to go back to the drawing board. But I know there was a lot there was a lot of concern about the district lines and how they were drawn and who drew them, to be quite honest with you. And so that's something that I'm concerned about as well. And even though I've run countywide and citywide, I'm still concerned to make sure that, there is adequate representation relative to the city population in our city council districts. So we'll probably be taking a look at that because that's starting to pick up a little bit more steam as I talk to people around the community.
All right, take one more call. You're it for the mayor. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
You quickly.
Good morning, Mayor. I'll see you later, Mayor. Okay, thank you.
Okay, then.
Bye.
Good morning, on there with the mayor. We're running out of time.
Good morning. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's been over 30 years. Joe been having the mayors on his show. Won't you pop up on Joe's show every once in a while?
Joe who?
Joe Hagler.
Oh.
Joe Hagler.
Well, once you
wait a minute.
Once you go to first string, why go to second string?
Well,
I mean, come on.
He's been on the air a little bit more than you, though.
We've been on air about the same amount of time. Matter of fact, he on varsity right now.
Can I call in?
Well, he said you can come on his show.
But can I call in? Because he's on at 5 a.m.
No, he afternoon.
Come on. He come on afternoon.
Okay.
1 and 2.
Okay. We'll check that out. That'd be good. That sounds like a little fun.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you can have some. We can have some man up there.
Okay, I gotta go. It's over. Mayor, thank you for coming. You got to do this more often.
Hey, listen, we will. A lot of good news in Montgomery. Thanks so much to the community for helping make it happen, and all the first responders and essential workers for keeping us going throughout this ongoing COVID issue. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
12 News Update on News Radio 1440.
Good morning. I'm Jasmine Williams with WSFA 12 News. Here's what's happening this Thursday.